business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with the servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make the powerful impact on others, of course, yourself as well. My guest today, she lit me up a few months ago when we first met. Her light's even shining brighter today. She's going to motivate you. She's going to challenge you. But more importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others so you can make that massive impact. We all need help from others to do that. We can't do it alone. And that's why love, we're going to talk about today, is a community. It's not a solo act. That's for sure. Before you dive in, here's your homework today, audience. How are you going to serve yourself and serve others today? Keyword is today. It doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage could change the game for anybody. So lean in, take notes. Let's discover how servant leadership in business and life can create ripple effects that last far beyond that crazy bottom line that we always worry about. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Epic Impact, the only universal emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. This 4-step system transforms how I pitch, how I post, how I podcast. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close with clarity and close with love. And we're going to talk about more love today. I use it daily and it works. If you want to fix your messaging or get better messaging out there, grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code Steve to inspire action today. Quick shout out to you audience and my guest, including my wonderful guest today. We hit top 20 in small business marketing. I think it's top 6. We're impacting people. Let's continue doing that. Yeah, I'm the facilitator, but it's all you doing the work. And I want you to keep doing that so we can make a difference in this world. Guess what? I've got a doctor on the show today. Doctor of Love. Dr. Roz, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thank you, Steve. You are such a love bug. You exude love in everything that you do, and I have so enjoyed listening to your podcast. And I'm actually fangirling over here a little bit, Steve. So thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
You got me locked in with that Southern drawl, so I'm loving it. We're good to go here. Love revolution. Sounds like we're back in the 60s. I'm 64, so I was young, but talk about your love revolution that you're building and growing.
Yes. So it's based on a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that says, "A social movement that moves merely people is a revolt, but a social movement that transforms both people and institutions is a revolution." And if you think about the word revolution, REVOL, love is backward in that word. And so what you're doing with this community of how are we serving others? How are we being kind to one another? What is our intentionality? That is a revolution. You are revolutionary, Steve. And so figuring out ways that we can put all the love into the world, agape love, this unconditional love, so that 8 billion people are loving 8 billion people one heart at a time.
It's powerful. It's a great goal. But here's the kind of the catch. People go, I'm afraid to love. Their vulnerability, they're afraid to let their cards on the table, as my guest previously said. What do you say to that?
You know, the people that are afraid, I think, are tapping into the emotional aspect of love, and I bring it up to the cognitive aspect. And so it is every bit a choice. It's very cognitive. And if you're committed to leading with love, if you're committed to the love revolution, then you're committing to loving all 8 billion people without condition. And so it's not based on, being afraid is, I'm afraid I won't get it back. And so this cognition piece is, I just put it out there, and it's not conditioned on whether I get it back or not. So I was working with a principal in terms of the Leading with Love coaching, and I encouraged her to sign her email to her staff with love. And she said, but what if I don't get it back? And I said, it's not about you getting it back. It's about you putting it out there and you creating a space of unconditional love. And again, it kind of gets all convoluted in there. But this, like I never have to look at someone and evaluate, do I love them or not?
Yeah. And business love then is cognitive love.
Yeah.
It's not romantic love. And that's what
Right.
I love the distinction, because I think you're right. People are like, I don't want to go help my HR person. I want to get in trouble. Well,
Right.
hug them and tell them, thank you for what you did for me,
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
at least respond with love. If hugging's not comfortable, do
Right.
some type of love instead of thank you, walk
Right.
away. Just
Right.
add to that.
You
What's
know,
the rev?
I've worked
Go
with
ahead.
corporations like Apple and Kaiser,
Mhm.
some other, or, and people are like, well, you can't use the word love there. You can't sign your emails love there. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, I can tell people. I mean, I did a really a huge project with Ernst and Young, and I was the project manager and working with their team, and I told every single one of them that I loved them, and it was also reciprocated back, and that's not why I did it. But when you can put love into the world, it's a beautiful, beautiful way.
And you didn't get fired saying
No.
love. You still worked there,
Yeah.
and you built this culture of love because now people are comfortable to say I love you or hug you or I
Right.
appreciate you, whatever
Right.
you verbalize.
Right.
That it's powerful, and that's the movement that you're making, the
Yes.
revolution that's
Yes.
powered.
You just
So
wait till I meet you in person, Steve, and give you
oh,
a hug. Oh yeah. We'll
you,
have a
you
whole
see,
hug fest.
4th of July will be nothing, the fireworks that
Exactly.
happen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's, and that's why I say, an audience, I put this out there, I know you've heard this, women are going to take over business because of the love aspect, the empathy,
Yeah.
because people rather walk in that than serious owner. Hey, Dr. Raj, you were late. Hey, Steve, you were late. Hey,
Right.
next time don't be, yeah,
Right.
okay, I was late, but you know what, how can we make it better? Love
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
mistakes. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
um Leadership now. Okay, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
How do we bring love and empathy into leadership?
Yeah. Well, leadership means that you're leading somebody. And so it's not just about you. You're leading a group, you're leading a movement, you're leading a community, you're leading your family, you're leading, if you have a faith tradition, if you're there, wherever it is, you're still working with people, and you're working with people that have a heartbeat and they have dignity. And so it is being intentional to serve with love every single person that you encounter. And so it's not about I'm the leader, I know all. It's about getting curious. I have the 3 C's, and one of them is you're committed, but the second one is you get curious, particularly if there's either some sort of consternation, like if we're not agreeing on something. So rather than me saying to you, so let's say that I'm, in leadership, with you, Steve. And so you and I are not agreeing on something. And so rather than me saying, well, that's a really dumb thing for you to think, I can say, wow, thank you, Steve, for sharing that. I'm processing that. I'm curious. Help me understand. And it gives them that opportunity. And maybe you still don't understand, and maybe you still don't even agree, but you've given that person the opportunity to at least explain where they are, and you've given that space. If people don't have the opportunity to make mistakes, if they have to be perfect or they're going to get fired, then they're not going to be productive. They're not going to show up as them. They're going to show up as automatons. And I mean, we have AI, we've got a whole lot of stuff that's automated out there, but you're bringing humans into your sphere, and so tap into their humanity.
That's that's powerful. What are, because I get asked all the time, I want to be a servant leader, I want to be a leader. I always like, because you're extremely qualified to answer this question, what are the core values you see in a servant leader?
Well, I have my five
Yeah,
core
yours. Yeah.
values. So mine are agape, interconnected. So for me, it's understanding that we're all interconnected. All 8 billion people on the planet are interconnected. And then it's wisdom, creativity, and wellness. And I did not really understand the creativity aspect of myself until I was sharing with somebody earlier today that I think COVID gave each of us an opportunity to expose the fissures that were already there. And some of us chose to address them, some perhaps not, but I did choose to address mine. And one is that creativity is such a deep, innate sense in me, and because cognitively I thought it was for kids, then I had shoved it down. And so now, I mean, I paint almost every day, or I'm doing a puzzle, or I'm doing something like that. And I mean, somebody will say, well, are you selling your artwork? it's not about that. It's not about monetizing. It's about creating. It's about emanating. It's about somehow something comes from within out, and how powerful that is.
Yeah, creativity is powerful that way. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the other problem with all this. And it's not a problem. I don't believe that, but what I hear from people,
Yes.
ROI benefits. How do you measure love in business on the success side?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. And I think for every single person, they get to kind of dictate how they're doing on
Mhm.
that. For me, one aspect of my business is debt-free degree. And so it's teaching students to love themselves enough to say no to student loans and yes to financial freedom. Well, that ROI is, if the average 8 semesters at an average state school is $100,000, and
Hmm.
you graduate without that much debt, then there's the ROI. If you are measuring love in a corporation and you look around your team and you go, you know what? We haven't had turnover in 3 years. What does that mean? We haven't had, like everybody is, or you could also look at it as the ROI of, you know what? I've got 15 people on my team, and each one of them gets 4 weeks of vacation, and every single one of them have taken at least 3 weeks in the last 3 years. That's an ROI, because it's not about work harder and show up more and put your behind in a seat to show up. It is, how can you be your best self? And you really can't be your best self if you're working 52 weeks a year.
And you build a culture like that, you're going to make money, because that's the
That's
bottom line. I mean, you're not
exactly
saying that at all, which I love about you. We have to, your business, you have to make money because you got to pay bills and all that. You got to
right.
pay people. I love
Right.
that. That's the other part of it. You never say any
Right.
monies, but I'm going to say numbers. I'm going to say numbers. Your numbers will go up 2 times.
Yeah.
I don't know what you need. It's dependent on each situation.
Yeah.
So guess what? I'm going to
What?
announce this on a podcast publicly. We're going to launch a movie.
Wow. We are?
The
You
business love
are.
story.
There we go. Yes, 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 yes,
So I
yes.
want you to tell me one of your favorite business love stories.
Oh, I love, love, love this. I love, love, love this. I think, I think one of my favorite, well, actually, it is a business, but it took place in an airport. Can I tell that story? So it is a
Absolutely.
business, and it has to do really with, I am one of the 14 trainers of nonviolence for the Martin Luther King Center. And so I study, Dr. King, I study nonviolence an hour a day, every day. And an hour a day is 4% of our day. That's it. And so you get to decide where you're going to put your 4%. And so I was in the Atlanta airport. Y'all hear this in my accent. And I am 5'2", and I'm kind of, short and kind of squatty. And so I was in these stanchions, and I was going in these stanchions, and there was somebody behind me that was about probably 6'2". And she was breathing down my neck, and she was in my ear, and she was saying, "You better get out of my way. You better." Then at one time she called me the B word. And it was because I was walking so slowly, and I hadn't yet caught up. But like, we're all in line. So I got to one of those places in the stanchion, and I just kind of pulled out. And I said, "Ma'am, you go on ahead of me." And I mean, she stomped and pulled that suitcase on. And of course, the gap was really big between she and I, until my little squatty legs finally got to her. And she looked at me and she said, "I am so sorry." And I said, "It's okay." I said, "The airport is stressful, and it's fine." And she said, "No, my grandmother would be so disappointed in me." And I said, "Would you like a hug?" And she said, "Yeah." And I just hugged her. We just stood there and hugged, and she was just crying. When you show those places of empathy, when you can get out of yourself and go, not, "This woman called me the B word, and let me just tell her what I need, blah, 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 blah." But
Normal response.
instead
Yep.
to say, "Airports are stressful, and this is a person that's in need, and her humanity is coming out in a prickly kind of way, and I get the choice to choose how to decide." And for me, that's the evidence of nonviolence coming out in me. Nonviolence is a love-centered philosophy, because Elizabeth cognitively might wanted to have told her, "Step off," but
Yep.
instead, so she got to show her ID one person before me. I mean, okay, I still made my plane. I still, all the things. Who knows the ripple effect of that hug for the rest of her day and for the rest of her days? Who knows how many times she encountered prickly people that she said, "Do you need a hug? Would you like some love?" Another great example is I was at the grocery store and this person had on, excuse me, a name tag. I apologize. And the name was not easily, you can't pronounce it, or I couldn't pronounce it easily, but I attempted it. I apologize. And the gentleman, like when I said his name, he popped up and he said, "Nobody's called me by name all day." He said, "I've been here 8 hours." And I said, "I am so delighted that you're here. And thank you so much for ringing up my groceries." Like just seeing people is so powerful. And so then you extrapolate that out. So let me tell you, if I need to start collecting business love stories, then I probably will give you maybe 2,000 of them. And then you get to pick and choose whichever ones in the
Yeah,
movie.
we're working on that. We're doing this publicly because my mind's going crazy.
Yay!
Here's a tip, audience, what Dr. Roz gave you, and she didn't. I think she might have realized it. $1 million tip. Say everybody's name at a clerk at a grocery store, at the movie theater, at the restaurant. I do it all the time, and I get the same response.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't know the shoes they're walking in, and you
That's
can
right.
just say somebody's name.
That's right.
I love that you said Beyonce. I want to add. So if you want to learn how to do to grow this love revolution, all of you out there start saying people's names.
Yeah.
And if they don't have a name tag, excuse me, what's your name? Oh, it's Dr.
Yeah.
Roz. Dr. Roz, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And if you
Exactly.
forget somebody's name, it's okay. I forgot your name. What was your name again?
Yeah.
People are not going to call you an a-hole because you forgot somebody's name.
Exactly. Or if
Ever.
you do the Southern thing, which my mother's nickname is Sugar, and it's because she calls everybody Sugar, and it's because she can't remember anybody's name. So she's like, "Well, Sugar doll, blah, 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 love bug, sweetie pie, whatever, honey, it's all good, The other thing that's really powerful, particularly in restaurants, is to ask to speak to the manager to brag on them. But what I have found, Steve, is I have to say, like, there was one night our server was 10 out of 10. I mean, so efficient, so phenomenal, so engaging, had a great rapport with them. And I said, "May I please speak to your manager?" Without, that's all I said. Well, the manager came over like, "Is he in trouble? Is he?" And I was like, "In trouble? How could he possibly think he's in trouble?" She said, "Oh, we hear this all the time. Like, we never get people call the manager over to say something good." So now I've started saying to my servers, "I would like to brag on you. Will you please send your manager over?" Well, now people are also saying that to the servers and then catfishing and then saying ugly things about the server. So it is such a surprise when the manager comes over a little bit in trepidation and I go, "Let me tell you why Donald was phenomenal. And Donald did this and, brought my bread and, I asked for orange slices in my water." And, like you can do all that and you can watch them, like their shoulders go back. You can watch them like rise because we're rising the vibration.
We are so aligned. And I'm going to add to what you said because I teach. That's the other thing. That's $2 million, audience. When you talk to your restaurant, because I do it all the time. I interviewed 100 because I was going to write a book. I still may, how to be a better customer, not better customer service. I think I mentioned that before. You reminded me of that.
Yeah.
I interviewed 100 managers. 99 of them, the average time they had not heard good things about their wait staff has been 6 months. I had a guy at the restaurant 10 years, did the same thing. And I don't say bragging on, I may do that because me and my wife, like, oh, look, they're talking. I'm like, what'd you do wrong? All that stuff you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. Audience, listen, be better customers. That's love. We're not kissing people. We're not hugging people. We're using our curiosity, our words to love on people. Oh my God, we're so aligned.
Yes. Now this almost never happens because I think when you put that out there, then you also get good service. However, Mr. and I went to a chain restaurant and we sat there for probably 25 minutes and nobody had come over even to give water. So it was like, could we, and like we're seeing other people getting seated and they're getting their water and they're getting their bread and whatever. And so Mike just went in and said something and to the, the hostess stand, "Could you just send our server over?" Well, so the server came and actually it was not a kind interaction. And then Mike and I always generally will split an entree. And so there was some consternation about that. And then when the server finally brought our food, when I tell you, she slammed it on the table. Can I do anything else for you? And we looked down and it was not what we ordered. And so I called the manager over, and the manager's standing at our, so we're in a booth, and the manager's standing up. It was a female. And I scooted in. I said, "Ma'am, will you just sit down beside me?" And so she sat down, and I said, "Look," I said, "we have gotten awful service, and we've been sitting here, blah, 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 and this is not even what we ordered. And I'm here for my using my birthday coupon and blah, 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 and it expires tomorrow. So we're not going to be back. And I know that this person's having a rough day. I do not want this person sanctioned. I do not want this person fired. If there's any way you can lovingly say to this person, hey, what's going on with you? I'm only letting you know just because other people may be experiencing this, and maybe for whatever reason she's having a bad day." And they comped our meal, which was like, because we were splitting, wasn't all that expensive, which that was kind. But we left her a $20 cash tip under, on the table. Like, she's valuable. And who knows what happened. Now, I had no interaction with her after she slammed the plates on the table. So I don't know what the outcome is. But one day I will know. But until then, I don't know the seeds that I've just planted.
Well, here's the, you're just so beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful, because people don't understand, when serving in love, no is a good thing. You just loved on that manager, because how many other tables is she going to screw up because of her bad day of what's happening?
Right.
And that's why people, they either say stuff like, I have no guys that would get food and say it's cold and get their meal comped. It wasn't.
Yeah.
That, don't do that. There's a time and place to complain.
Yes. Yes.
But also, let's
Yes.
go out and love on our wait staff.
Yes.
Love on our clerks.
Yes.
Because my wife just said, okay, here goes Steve again. So I'm loving that.
Yeah.
We got off on a tangent, but a good tangent. So how do we teach future generations with all this noise, with news and social media and negativity in the world? It's there, right? You
It's
agree?
there. Honey, it is there. It is there.
How do we teach?
Yes.
How do we teach love?
A couple of different ways. One is I'm actually on the training team for the Beloved Community Leadership Academy, which is an initiative out of the Martin Luther King Center. And it's 13 to 18-year-olds, and we have a 18-month curriculum that we're doing with them. It's all rooted and grounded in the principles of nonviolence. And so certainly, obviously connecting with the King Center would be amazing. And also, just digging into the principles of Dr. King and understanding that. I think one of the most powerful ways is when you're using that, or whatever love center philosophy or wherever it is that you're doing, with intentionality. I think it is, as a dear mentor of mine, Dr. Vernetta L. West, always says, I want to fight for what I'm for rather than fighting against what I'm against. And it was really so evident to me, because there's a friend of mine that she and I are really aligned, like you and I are aligned, Steve, but we're aligned like 95% of the way that she thinks and sees the world is the way that I do too. And I couldn't figure out why I was like drained every time she and I would have, longer, like go to lunch together or whatever. And I realized it's because she spends an inordinate amount of time not only fighting against what she's against, but lassoing me in to fight against. Like, how come, Elizabeth, you're not fighting this? And how come you're not fighting this? And how come you're not? And once I finally realized, wait a minute, I want to put my energy into being for what I'm for. And it's just so that's what's so life-giving. And teaching these students, like these students that we're working with, these 13 to 18-year-olds, they have a discussion board. Here's a principle of nonviolence. How are you showing up in a courageous way? That's one of them. And they're doing all these examples. One of them said, I saw a kid being bullied, and rather than saying anything to the bully, I just went and stood beside the kid that was being bullied. Just that interconnection, just that solidarity. It's just, figuring that out. And the other thing, we have such a it's gut-wrenching, such a tremendous horrendous with guns and shootings and and the violence and the understanding that we really need to think about means and ends. And there is no way to bomb our way to peace. There is no way to hate our way to love. The only way to get to love is through love.
Yeah.
And so teaching them, and it's so countercultural, because people are saying, oh, well, you need to stomp on them and you need to be independent and you need to be this. I literally was 48 years old at the Martin Luther King Center before I ever heard the concept of interconnection. I had been taught independence my entire life, and that is such a myth. It's a myth physiologically, in, in addition to how we're in community. I mean, I did not make my clothes. I did not, I'm not Al Gore. I didn't do the internet. I did not, put together my car. Like, we are all so interconnected every single second of every single day. And every time we tell ourselves that we're independent, then it's a lie. And so it's this understanding that we're all interconnected, and that's how we do it. When when you have kids that are going in schools and they're having the shooting, and it's like, oh, what could we have done? People are like, what could we have done yesterday? I mean, yeah, maybe there were some things that we could have done yesterday, but what we could have done as a society is every single child that's born, put 100 people around that child from day one and say, I love you, you have dignity, you're wonderful. Because if they're completely full, if their human algorithm is full of all these phenomenal messages, when bullying comes in, it's going to pop off. It's why debt-free degree is such a hard message, because everybody is just so inundated with take the loans and figure out how to pay it off later. And my little message of it's possible to love yourself enough and not take student loan debt, but it's bouncing off because they're full of just take the loans. And it's the same way with people who are bullies, who have been bullied, and in keeping with that, Steve, one of my missions too is when there's a conflict is to look at every single person in the conflict. And oftentimes if there's a shooting, let's say that there's a shooter, and the shooter dies at the scene, and then 10 other people were killed. Well, the headline will say 10 people died, but it's actually 11 of our brothers and sisters died. And then it's like, okay, the shooter that died, what's going on with their family? Who's bringing casseroles to that family? Who's reaching out to that mama to say, you lost your baby and I'm so sorry? It's what we do day in, day out to our society. And when we can look at people and go, your humanity means something to me, that's when we transform the world.
What's Vernetta's phrase again?
To fight for what we're for rather than to fight against what we're against.
I love that. And I'm going to get that from your audience. Write that down, because it reminds me of the boulder going up the hill or down the hill. Your friend at the lunch was pushing the boulder up and wanted you to help her push the boulder, and you guys are working hard and sweating. Or you go down the hill with it just goes right down, and then
Exactly.
more people will join you. Powerful.
Yeah.
Let's end with a great question. I can't wait to ask you this. So I've reserved a table in a restaurant, table for 4. We'll bring your husband too, because you sound like you're really close to your husband. So
Okay,
you've
yeah.
got 3 empty chairs.
Okay.
Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive, to
Okay.
talk to, get to know, get in their head, learn from? And what food does Dr. Roz order?
Oh, okay. Now, Steve, are you there?
I'll be there too if you want me to.
Okay, good. Okay, so it's me and Steve and Mr. And then I get to invite 2 more people or 3?
3 more people.
3 more people. Okay, so it's me and Mr. and Steve. I'm going to invite Yeshua, which is the name for Jesus. That's what I call him. I'm going to invite Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., and I'm going to invite Gandhi.
What a table. I definitely want to be there. And we'll just order finger foods.
Okay. Yes,
I
because
did
I
it for
forgot
you,
to
but
say that part.
yeah.
So, my favorite restaurant in Atlanta is Mary Mac's. It's a tea room. It opened in the 40s by a female, and it's still open today. It's on Ponce de Leon Avenue, and everything is homemade from scratch, like all the salad dressing, everything. So we would have fried chicken. We would have collard greens. We would have mac and cheese. We would have what we call table wine of the South, which is sweet tea and yeast rolls and banana pudding.
My wife would have to come. My God, when you say collard greens, I know she's listening somewhere. She's lit up. Oh my God, what a table. What?
So when you go to Mary Mac's, if you're a brand new visitor, you get something called pot liquor, which is the broth of the collard greens. So it's just the broth, and everybody gets a little bit, but that's the side that I get every single time. So when y'all come to Atlanta, let me know, and we will go to Mary Mac's.
It's a date. Me and Mr. and
Yes.
Melinda, my wife. Beautiful.
Yes.
I can't love this show more than I'm just so taken back by your attitude. You don't let things stop you. You're a force to be reckoned with love, which you can be forceful with love, but not that type of forceful, but just have your own thoughts, and it's beautiful. I know people listening are going, how do I connect with Dr. Roz and be part of this? So how can they do that?
So even my website ends in love. It's Dr. Roz, DRROZ.love. Every one of my pages ends in love. And I also have a page on there for heart sightings. So what we look for, we find is that, as my friend Betsy Clark says, reticular activation system. So if you go out and you look for hate and you look for yuck and you keep putting that in the world, that's what you're going to find. But if you look for love, if you look for hearts, then that's what you're going to find. So folks will text me their heart sightings and I put them on the website, and there's a place there that they can schedule time with me. And so find out all about my 3 pillars of love revolution and how we can get 8 billion people to love 8 billion people.
Love it. Well, you're such a beautiful soul. Thank you again for being an incredible guest.
Thank you, Steve. You're amazing. You're so amazing.
God bless. Thank you. And audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's your homework. But yeah, I like my subscriber. I love my subscribers, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's not why I'm asking. Here's where you could truly show love with Dr. Roz. You listen to this show because it got sent to you because you subscribed. And I just talked to my cousin. She's missing love in her life.
Yes.
You share this podcast.
Yep.
Dr. Roz becomes your gift, and you impact her.
Yeah.
She reaches out and learns the 3 pillars, all that stuff. Podcast links are gifts. It doesn't have to be my podcast or this one. It has to resonate, but share them out like they're Christmas every morning, and you'll impact people like I try to do. Well, I don't try, I will do every day, and that Dr. Roz does every day. So with that being said, me and Dr. Roz, I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.